The shipping service from the docks here in Derry to Liverpool has closed down, like many other things in the city, such as the Great Northern Railway. It's just one of the symptoms of unemployment in Derry. Unemployment has always been high here, as much as 14% for men. But when a further 1,000 were laid off from the BSR factory recently, it drove the male unemployment rate up to nearly 20%.
Well, I never got no job since I come off the army. Since 50. I worked
1950?
for 10 weeks since 1950. No pension or nothing.
I'm unemployed because I went through a heart operation and they can't find me a job in Derry.
I do an odd day. The key just loading potatoes, coal, whatever it is up.
We can't get any work at all. I was paid off the BSR.
When do you think you'll get a job again?
I don't know. I haven't a clue. No chance in Derry.
Well, all I have to say that my husband was on the army from when he was 14. And any time he wanted work, he always had to go to England to get it. Never got no here.
What do you think of your representatives?
What can they do?
They cannot get speaking.
Well, they're doing their best. I mean, we've got, like, Mr. Mallon here.
Ourselves, we formed a group here about 18 months ago called the Unemployed Action Committee. They focus attention on unemployment and they make these people in the City Hall sit up and take a bit of notice.
How are you going to do that?
To the people. Well, by mass demonstrations, writing to industrialists, they come here, something that they haven't done themselves over the past 10 years. We went on a deputation 12 months ago in regards to Seagull and the water side, and there was not one nationalist representation on that deputation. And the quicker we get a Labour Party here, and the north and the south, there's the only prospects we have of attaining anything better.
But for many, unemployment brings a feeling of aimlessness, spending the afternoon at the bookies. What are you all doing down here in this part of the town
Where
today?
else can we go? So there's no other recreation or anything in Derry.
Any back houses?
Yeah.
What else?
You've nothing else to do?
Oh, plenty to do, but no pay for it. You want money when you're going to do anything, don't you?
The housing situation here in Derry is desperate. The immediate need is for the rehousing of 2,000 families with an additional 300 newlyweds every year. To rehouse these people would need a building programme of 500 new houses every year for the next 15 years. In fact, only 55 houses have been built each year for the last 3 years. The pressure on housing in Derry is greater than anywhere else in the north, and the pressure here in the south ward of Derry is much greater than anywhere else in the city. 30 people per acre as against 14 and 12 in the other two wards. Here, in the South Ward, in Magazine Street, several families are living in condemned houses.
There are 5 of us here, my husband and 3 children, forbids me and my husband. And this is a terrible place to live in, for the floor's ready to collapse altogether. And we've only one room made into 2, and we've nowhere to hang our clothes or nothing. Or we've no part here at all to move in. And
How long have you been here?
7 years. And we've no intention in getting a house out of it, for they won't close it for us.
Can you not get a house until this place is condemned?
This place is really condemned, but Rossbury won't close it.
Your landlord? Can the corporation not make him close it?
Well, they've wanted to say the word, and he'll have to close it. But they won't do that, do they? They must be all in the one swim.
It's in a terrible condition, and during the storm there last week, the wall cracked above the windows, you see, and the corner of the ceiling has fallen a bit. And I even reported this to Mr. Drisson, but he says there's nothing now I can do about it. He says that's all now. He says, and he's put down the phone again. And we're loving eating and sleeping and cooking in one room, and all we have to cook on is the gas room. The wash, we have to dry and all in the one room. And we've no room for nothing. The door can't even open wide. So we're looking forward, surely, to better conditions. Only for the children's sake, at least. That may be years now before we're housed. But I'm here because the corporation's not building.
The roof of the house where these families lived caved in during a storm last week, and they were moved to flats intended for redevelopment. For others, too, the long wait for a house finally ends. But tell us about your wait for a house and the different efforts you were making and had to make at different times to get the house you're now in.
Well, my application was dated from February 1959, and I went down to the usual procedure here. You go down to the corporation and you fill in an application form, which I did, and I sort of sat back and waited on my turn to come up. But after 8 years, there was no sign of any house forthcoming. I found that I was getting no response from the corporation, and I'd made a few applications for an interview. I was in a collar, and I couldn't see her. So I wrote down to the Minister of Development, Mr. Craig, he was then, and I told him of my dilemma. So he wrote back and answered me and told me that he had made inquiries with the corporation and with the housing trust, and he assured me that I'd been on top of the list. And in the meantime, I went down to Chantala and asked a few people I knew what their housing numbers were, and they furnished me with their own housing cards and told me, wish me the best of luck, more or less. So when I got these, I discovered that 700 and 800 numbers after mine were sitting in our house. Well, I finally got a house after 8 years, just in it 3 weeks ago now.
You're pleased with it?
Oh, I'm delighted with it. After waiting 8 years, it's heaven.
How important do you think the efforts you put into getting this house were by comparison with help you got from other people? And how much help do you think your elected representatives gave you?
I got this house on my own merits. I can honestly say that.
What is your job situation?
Tomorrow morning, I'll be unemployed because I wouldn't get paid off. And this is the third payoff actually I've been involved in with Monaghan League. And the last time I was paid off at Christmas, we got it. We were paid off on New Year's Eve, but this year we're getting